Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFerrin. In this podcast, we talk about quick, short, actionable tips on how you can take steps to begin your journey to become a millionaire. In today's episode of Manifesting Millions, we're talking about one of my personal decisions that I've made in regards to investing in an electric car and how that's turned out for us over the past 4 years, and then why I'm choosing to sell it at the end of the year. So stay tuned. I think it's going to be another shorty episode. It depends on how much of my opinion starts to come out in the episode. We're going to jump right in. And so, number one, I want to talk about what got me started in regards to considering buying an electric car? It was the initial excitement and the impact of having a small impact on the environment. My job, I was working at Bank of America at the time. In 2016, I was working downtown. My son was going to school far north. And so we were doing a ton of commuting on a daily basis. I'm talking 2.5 to 3 hours, and it was a lot. And so I started to look at the option of getting an electric car because my employer offered, I think it was $5,000 at the time if we bought an electric car. And I was going to get a Tesla. The Tesla had just started debuting the Model 3, and you can get on the wait list. And this is 2016. The cars didn't start getting delivered until 2018. And by then, my patience had worn very short. I was super excited about getting an electric car. So then, after it took so long for them to start delivering the cars, I was like, you know what? Just forget it. I will find something else that's just as close to the Model 3 to see, to try it out, to see if we like it. And I had been seeing BMW i3s like all over the city, especially during my commutes. And I was like, that might be a perfect little car. My son was early preteens at the time. So he hadn't hit his growth stage yet, which he is very much in now. And so I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go test drive the car and see if I like it. So what ended up happening is instead of me getting the BMW i3, I bought at the time, which was my dream car when I graduated from like undergrad. And I don't know why I didn't hadn't gotten it before now, but I bought a cherry red BMW 428. So I was like, you know what? Forget the electric car for now. We'll just drive this. And it gave us a much better experience driving around the city, considering that we were always in the car. It felt nicer. It was a smoother ride. The car did really well on the road. I guess that's why they call BMWs the roadsters, because they do really well on the road, but you're going to pay a lot of out of pocket money when maintaining that car once it gets out of warranty. So I had that car. And then I was like, well, we don't need a car right now since I bought this car. So the initial excitement and stuff had worn down. When we got into the pandemic, I was like, you know what? This will be a perfect time for us to get our car because we're not going anywhere. Barely anybody is probably buying anything anyways. And so I did. I got the BMW i3. I bought a 2017 model. I think it was a late 2017 model in December of 2020. And they literally delivered it to us on New Year's Eve. And so that meant I could get a $7,500 tax write off because of that. I chose the BMW i3 because out of all the cars I went through, it was the only one that I could see that had a backup tank that I had looked at. There are probably other EVs out there that have backup tanks, but I wasn't completely comfortable going to just like a no tank range. Um, with the range not being so far on the car. And for BMWs, it depends. Like there's so much. Like number one, I think you should have orientation before you buy these cars because it's so much. I'm still learning stuff about this car and it's 4 years later. Anytime I would have an issue, child, I would go to YouTube because like you can't find a lot of that stuff in the manual. It's not there. And then, needless to say, the manual technically wasn't in the car. So you gotta have to think about by 2017, so much stuff is going paperless. So I downloaded my manual in a PDF. It wasn't in the car. So, um, in the wintertime, you get significantly less range because it's so cold. Hopefully your car doesn't malfunction. But one Thanksgiving, I think it was 2022, I had gone up to this restaurant called Soul Man's to pick up some turkey. I was cooking um Thanksgiving dinner and I wanted some additional turkey. I went up there for, I kid you not, it was 5 minutes. I turned that car off. It was like 20 degrees outside. I turned the car off and went in there, picked up my food, and I got back out to the car and my keys, like, lit my fob wouldn't work. It wouldn't connect to the car. I had locked the car naturally. Nothing would work that would allow me to get me into the car. I didn't know how to get into the car with the key fob that's in, or the key that's in the fob. And so just so happened I went into the business, the manager came out and he was like, "You do know that's a key, right?" I said, "No, I didn't have any idea that that was a key." And he found the place on the driver's side where the key would fit, and I didn't even know it was there because it was covered. You have to lift the key up or lift the cover up, take the key out the fob, and then put the key into it, and it opened the car. So this did two things. Like I said, it opened the car first, and then number two, it ignited the alarm. The alarm started going off. And remember, I don't have access to the computer system because the car is not responding to my key fob. So, what did I end up doing? I had all this food. My car wouldn't start. I ended up closing the car. He managed to get the alarm to turn off some way, and I ended up leaving my car at the barbecue spot the whole night because it was Thanksgiving. Number one, nobody's out working, and then number two, it was right down the street. Something had happened with the battery, and I'm not sure if it was the big car battery or the little battery that runs it because there's two batteries in that car. They don't tell you that either until something goes wrong. And so I ended up Ubering back to the house, which is all of maybe like $6 or $7, which wasn't a big deal, but I was just really like flabbergasted that I had not been in my car all day. It had been completely 100% charged. I go to drive my car up the street. I get it. It's 20 degrees outside. It's cold. And then it just completely malfunctioned on me. Like, where they do that at, yo? That's not cool. Especially considering these cars are quote unquote luxury vehicles. Truth be told, while they while they look the part, I don't know so much about it being classified as a luxury vehicle because these cars are roadsters, because they are made for hard driving. I just feel like it's a regular car. But in our society, in the US, in America, BMW, Mercedes, Infinity, they're considered like luxury brands. I'm doing quotes with my hands, but I I don't necessarily know that I feel like it's been a good experience with both my cars, but if you're talking about in regards to long-term reliability when it comes to a car, number one, I'm thinking I believe in buying those cars new. Normally, I believe in buying all cars new. I got such a good deal on that. I paid close to 65% of the car I put down so I wouldn't have like a big car note. I wanted a car note because I needed another loan reporting to my credit to keep my credit lines open, and the diversity in my credit lines because I had paid off my other car the year before and I had closed it out. And if you know anything about credit, once you start closing out things, it drops your credit score because you don't have that active loan on your account anymore. So, for the most part, I mean, it's been a good experience. We put some 30,000 miles on it just driving it around town city. I've never driven the car like long across the country type driving. Like if I would drive home to Tennessee or go see someone in Atlanta or Florida, I would never drive that car like that because there's just, yeah, no. But it's a great little around town car. And when I initially bought the car, I was thinking that by the time my son got 16, he got ready to get his license, the car would be close to being paid off, which it is. I think I owe like maybe $4,000 on the car. My car note is so cute. It's like $120 a month. I literally have not had a car that cheap since I was in college. And it's been over 20 years since I've been out of college. Well, technically last year, telling my age. And so my logic behind it in getting that car was it's a small, dependable car that can get him to and from school when he's ready to start driving on a daily basis, because eventually will get to the point where he's transitioned 100% fully to driving on his own. That is the goal by his senior year. But after having it for 4 years, we may keep it, but that is not going to be the car he drives. I'm okay because it's pretty much my real estate car. I do a lot of real estate in the car, meaning I drive around and I do my tours when I'm meeting clients and things like that. But in regards to the range anxiety is a real thing, you guys. I'm going to be honest. Back when I was in college, like my first 2 years, I had some really raggedy cars. My mom just didn't have the money to be able to buy me a brand new car. So, like, I feel like I spent the first 2 years of college, my car is breaking down every time you turned around. And so that's like with the range anxiety, that's what it made me feel like when my car would break down all the time. The battery having such a short lifespan, or only a certain amount for the lifespan of the battery, and then you can switch it over to the gas. But like I said, there's you have it's a I had to pull up YouTube to switch that car and code it to switch it into gas mode. And I was just when that happened, like, I was in a complete panic because I was now when that happened, my range was down. I thought I had 40 to 50 miles left, and the car was telling me that I had like 50 miles left. Turns out I didn't have many miles left because I was pulling into Sonic's drive-through to get me a Route 44 because it's the summertime. It's hot. It's 100 degrees where we are. So I turn the car off, order my drink, and then I go to turn the car back on and my car don't start. I'm sitting in the drive-through, and then this big truck comes up behind me and it's like, hey, move out the way. And I'm like, I can't go anywhere. You're gonna have to go around, dude. Like, I don't care. You're gonna have to go around. And so in a full panic, like, I'm sitting here trying to call my insurance, trying to see if there's somebody that can send to get an electric boost. And then I'm sitting there thinking, like, does the insurance even cover electric boosting for the car? I mean, I know they do it for regular cars. If your battery goes out, you can get a boost. But this is an electric car. I don't even know how I don't know. And so, long story short, I pull up YouTube. The guy has like a 2-minute video. He shows me how to do it. I go back into the car, do that, and it switches over to gas mode. I drive it across the street to a gas station, put a little more gas in it, and then pretty much hightail my butt home because, like, yo, I was so freaked out at that point, like feeling like my car had completely broken down on me, which was not the case. Again, in extreme conditions, that battery does different stuff. And that is another thing that ties into the range anxiety. So in addition to that, unlike Tesla that has supercharging stations all over America, pretty much, when you have an electric, I was about to say an off-brand electric car. That's kind of technically what it is. When you have an off-brand electric car, when you're searching for charging stations, I cannot count on I don't know how many times I done ended up at corporate headquarters, apartments, in the middle of the city. I'm like, yo, just give me a regular charging station where I can charge. I have an account set up and I can go and pull up to it and then let my car charge. And then it's not like a Tesla station where you go, you plug up your car for 30 minutes and then your car is fully charged. No, ma'am. No. It is like you're going to be sitting there for 3 hours in order to get 50 miles. It's like, you better take it to somewhere where it's some civilization, number one, just for safety reasons. And then number two, for you to have shopping options for stuff for you to go do. Because, like, it is like sitting there watching paint dry. And then, whether it's hot or cold, you either burning up or you're completely cold because you can't really run the heat as much when you're sitting there, because when you're running it, it takes away from the charge that you're trying to charge to. Yo, we done had some stories. Anyway, the most recent one has been a few weekends ago, I took my son. They had birthday parties for some of the football players, and they were meeting in a neutral spot. I used the car and I broke it down into each range, right? Because sometimes with if you know anything about BMW, they have regular driving, Eco Pro, Comfort Pro, and things like that. And sometimes that preserves your gas and your energy. By the time I was finished doing everything that I was doing, I did not feel like sitting there and having a car charge for 3 hours. And I had been out in the city for like 6 hours already. And so I literally broke my car down to comfort eco pro mode, which literally wouldn't let me go over 55 miles. Again, I'm like an hour away from home. And so I mostly go the streetways through the city to get back home. And when I tell you it was like 99 degrees that day, and so when it breaks it down into Eco Pro comfort mode, it only lets one level of the air conditioner blow, and it still don't feel like no air. I was burning up. So by the time I get home, naturally I gotta go take a shower because like I am cooking in this car. This is ridiculous. And now, look, and when I'm going through that, I'm fantasizing about when we rented a Tesla last year. I was like, I didn't go through any of this stuff with the Tesla. What's going on? And so, I think over the last 4 years, I think each experience has pushed me towards no to owning the car ever again. That is for sure. And I really won't be buying an i4 because you're just going to get the same problems that you had in the i3, just in a better body, right? In a better model. Yeah, it's going to be it's fancier. It costs close to what? I think it's 40 to $50,000 for the i4. But the same problems in regards to the range. I said that they said it's supposed to rival the Tesla in regards to the range. Okay, fine. But where are the charging stations? Like the turbo charging stations that are going to have me at a charging station for 30 minutes instead of me sitting there for 3 hours waiting on Electrify America or EVgo or another, whichever other ones. Like you're still going to inherit the same problems. And so I'm pretty much now to the point, unless it's a Tesla, I ain't driving it because we literally do not have the infrastructure here in America to support the other electric EVs. And then you like charge your car at home, right? But sometimes you ain't got time to sit up there and let unless you have installed your level 2 to level 3 charger, you ain't got time to be sitting up all day letting your car sit up and charge, and you need to go take care of stuff and do stuff. And so I would highly recommend, if you do get an EV, have a backup that runs on gas. Honestly, because yeah, it's stressful. It's been stressful owning this car. And the other thing I feel like people be bullying me. It's like a little bitty, it's like a little bitty hatchback type of car. It's like a mix between a hatchback and an SUV, a small SUV. And I just feel like people be bullying me on the road, be like, get out the way, beep, beep, beep. Me. So, anyways, yeah, that's been our experience with the BMW. We've pretty much gotten to the point that, and my son has outgrown the car. He's too tall for it now. I didn't think that was going to be an issue. I knew it may have been a possibility. Like he literally, like his knees are like in the glove compartment at this point, and he has the seat pushed all the way back, and he's still too big for it. And so we're definitely going to be getting another car. It's definitely not going to be an EV. We are going back to gas for now, or I might do a hybrid. I'm not opposed to doing a hybrid. But that has been our experience. So in regards to manifesting my millions, did I save money overall on gas for the past 4 years? Absolutely. We, yes, so much money. And then my electric bill didn't really go up that much with me charging the car either. So that was another plus. So yeah, that was amazing. But who has time to be driving a car around the city and you're always worried about whether or not it's going to run out of energy? And you ain't gonna be able to find a charging station to be able to plug it up. And then when you get to the charging station, it takes 2 to 3 hours for you to get half the charge just to get back home. It is stressful. And so I'm like, this is unnecessary stress in my life that I don't need. Yeah, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm thinking by the end of the year, we will have sold that car and we're gonna keep it simple. I'm thinking about trying the what is it called? The new Buick Vista, the truck that came out, I think at the end of last year. But it's a nice little basic car. It costs like 20 grand brand new. And if I wanted to change it and make it look fancy on the outside, honey, I can paint it or wrap it. Well, that's what they doing to the cars now, wrapping it. I've been looking at them and they're starting to become like a little cheaper than 20. I think I may have found one that was cheaper than 20 that had like maybe 800 miles on it. Sometimes they use the cars as loaners and you can go in and get those deals at a discount. Those cars are at a discount because they were loaners. I don't mind buying a loaner. I've done that before. I had that car for 10 years. That was my Chevy Malibu. And it was pretty much amazing. We rode all over the southeastern part of the United States and the East Coast in that car. But anyway, this is not really a teaching episode. It's more so of a me sharing experience episode. If you are interested in getting an electric car, hopefully some of the information that I shared can be helpful to you. And I'm planning to do another episode to follow up. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.